Okay, today is it's 9:30 or 10 o'clock tonight. It's August 11th, 2018, Saturday night. I've had a very busy day. I'm glad I had a busy day. I probably get one or two good days a month where things I feel fairly normal. And I had a lot of things to do today. I'm glad I got to do everything on my calendar, which is it's unusual. So first thing I did was I woke up with a migraine, and I took I think yesterday I had a migraine. I had to take 2 doses of medicine, and I still felt hungover, had the migraine after effects all day. Yesterday I had mediation with my daughter's dad, and I didn't get around to doing a update. But basically what happened is he showed up. I was really surprised he showed up. I was pleased that he showed up. But he wants me to have 0 parenting time, and he made that very clear. No compromise, 0 parenting time. He will not agree for me to have 1 hour a week, much less any parenting days, even though from what I can see in case law, in appeals cases that I've seen in the past for 2, 3, 4 years, 80 parenting days seems to be the minimum that they give, that's like considered to be the minimum. But the guideline is maximum participation of both parents. So, which is what we had. I had 185 days. He had 180 days for the first 6.5 years of my daughter's life. She spent 3 nights a week with him and 4 nights a week with me. She was happy, healthy, well-adjusted, did not have any major problems. There were no concerns. No major concerns. I had some concerns about her in kindergarten, but I had those concerns, and I voiced those concerns, and I begged and pleaded to be able to homeschool her for the kindergarten school year. And I actually did enroll her as a homeschooler, and they made me take her out and enroll her in public school, despite all of my concerns, which ended up being my predictions. Well, I still think if they had not cut me out of her life, she could have adjusted. The kindergarten year was the hardest, and that's why I said let me homeschool her for this first year. And but they would not have it. There's absolutely no compromise whatsoever. You can't have 1 year, not even 1 year, to homeschool her. So they maybe homeschool her. Put her in public school for kindergarten. Then before she went into first grade and changed schools, they cut me completely out of her life. And that was the worst thing they could have done. And the guardian ad litem, all the guardian ad litem was concerned about is me complaining about what was being done to my daughter. The guardian ad litem showed no concern whatsoever for my daughter's well-being. And even though I kept raising these concerns, and I'm like, this is what the counselor is saying my daughter is saying. This is what the teachers are saying. And nobody cared. Nobody cared. Until she completed that first grade year, no contact with me. And then the second year, beginning of the second year, all of a sudden people are paying attention. Oh, the mother's in her life again. Look at what the mother's done. This child is having major problems, and it's the mother's fault. And that's not true. And there's plenty of documentation from at least 3 different sources that she was having very significant problems, very disturbing behaviors, emotional problems, disruptive behaviors in first grade. And that's been testified to, written records from counselors and school personnel have been admitted into evidence. I've got some things that I have not admitted into evidence, but I've told people I've got them. But it's been unbelievable. My case has been absolutely unbelievable. It's still shocking to me. So since my daughter's dad he's denied all court-ordered visitation. I was supposed to get at least 8 hours in July. Let's see, when was my last visit with her? Well, I got 2 visits. I got 4 hours, two-hour visits in July, and then he refused to set up anymore. So I've gotten 0 contact with my daughter. I've sent her letters. I've sent her cards. I've sent her letters. I have not gotten any back. I've sent her self-addressed stamped envelope and paper. I've sent her pens, and I've got nothing from her. And I don't know whether she is getting the mail I've sent her. I sent her a card, August 3rd. Dear Delara, I keep checking my mailbox for something from you. Hurry and send me something. Last night when I was walking Bonnie, she saw a possum and pulled so hard on the leash. The leash slipped out of my hand and she grabbed the possum and shook it violently. I got Bonnie as quickly as I could and left the possum. I think it was dead, but I didn't check. I don't want to get... Those possums have really sharp teeth, and I didn't want to see if it was playing dead or what. 2 days ago, when I let the birds out, and then talk about the chickens and ducks, a vole had apparently drowned in the water trough. One of the ducks ate it right up. It took a while. I watched a video of an owl eating something big, a rabbit, I think. I never thought it would get it down. I think it was a video on YouTube or something, and it ate the thing whole. It didn't rip it into pieces. It ate it whole. Just took it a while, and I was like, it'll never get that down. And that's kind of how the duck was with this. Even though the vole was, it's a little bit bigger than a mouse. Yeah, it's maybe twice as big as a regular field mouse. And it took it a while, but it ate it, and I guess that's a good thing. I just got stung by a wasp on my arm. I sprayed the nest they were building. Love, Mom. Anything offensive in that? Any reason why a child should not be able to see this? And I'll go ahead and read the, I won't read the whole thing, I guess. I copied this 5-page letter that I sent July 31st. I'll go ahead and read it. Dear, my darling Delara, I don't expect to see you for a while, but you can be sure that I am thinking of you every moment of every day. 1 more week until school starts, and I know that they will be posting grade assignments, or class assignments, rather, tomorrow. And it wasn't that day. It was a few days later. I saw whatever notification I saw. I thought it was going to be August 1st, but it ended up being August 5th or something. So I made a mistake. I can't remember who it was that you said had been in your class every year at Gower. I will be checking in with your teachers and counselors, and I hope I will get good reports. I also hope that you will write to me and let me know how you are doing. I am sending a self-addressed stamped envelope, and I will be checking my mailbox every day. Please send me something, even just a drawing or a haiku. When I went 9.5 months without seeing her, the first thing she wanted to do with me is write a haiku. So we made I think we did a couple of haikus. I hope you found your Bible. I may have to send you another one. Here are my suggestions for having a great year at school. And she had told her sister she was not looking forward to starting school again. She hates 4th grade. That's what she said. But 4th grade's pretty good. So I wanted to encourage her, because ever since she started, whatever situation she's in, I've told her God wants us to look for the good in it and be thankful, because there's always things to be thankful for, no matter what your situation is. You're blessed, and you're better off than a lot of people, and things could always be worse. So, and make the best of whatever situation you're in. So So ever since, even though she wanted to homeschool, I think she still does want to homeschool, but I think she's afraid to say it at this point because it causes her father to get so upset. And she knows that you can't mention that word. You can't mention court, and you can't mention homeschool. But I want her to have a good experience. And I have always, even though her father, maybe it was in second grade, he sent an email to the teachers, and well, it was whenever I wasn't in her life for first grade, and he said, I encouraged Delara to misbehave because I felt like if she misbehaved at school, I'd get to homeschool her. So I encouraged her to misbehave. That is a huge lie. It's always been a lie. I don't know why he believes that. I have always, and this came up in testimony. It's like, me trying to make her have, behave herself, not be disruptive, not steal learning time from the other students or teaching time from the teacher, being considerate, being nice, practicing self-control, and being a good friend, and being a good student, and being appreciative and respectful. And I've got emails I've sent to, I'm like, what can I do to help? And I'm telling Delara this and that. These are my suggestions. These are what I'm telling her. I offer in kindergarten, I said, well, if she's acting up and I need to come spank her, I'll do that. Just let me know, because I'm half a mile away. Half a mile? I think I'm half a mile, walking half a mile away. So, I'm very concerned about her being disruptive. Most of all, I don't want her to be upset. And she gets upset. I want her needs to be met. Her needs are not being met. So she acts out, she gets upset. She's not getting, if she's spending hours a day in the office or in the hallway or wherever it is when she elopes from the classroom, that's just not a good use of her time. And I don't want her to have I want her to have a good experience. And I've always supported her. I've always encouraged her to have a positive attitude about school and learning and the friends and all the good experiences she has at school. Because homeschooling is not an option. I don't know if it'll ever be an option. But where she is right now, make the most of it. I've always done that. I've never once encouraged her to misbehave, ever. And it's hurtful to me that he would say that. And of course, the people he's saying it to, they've never seen that. They've never seen any indication that I want her to misbehave at school, because they're seeing the opposite. So, this is 4th grade. This is her last year at Gower. I don't think it's going to be any better than the last 3, unfortunately, especially if I'm not in her life in a meaningful way. If I'm in her life in a meaningful way, which is more than seeing her in a supervised visit once or twice a week, which is all she's ever had from me for the past 3 years. That's not a meaningful way to be in her life. That's not me being able to be to effectively parent her, guide her, direct her, teach her, prepare her for life as a responsible, respectful American citizen. I can't do that in just a few hours a month. I can't. But I do try to do the most I can during my visits, but it doesn't matter what I do. He always finds something to complain about, because he doesn't want me to have any contact. He wants me to have zero contact. He made that clear last year when he asked for a 5-year no contact order between me and Delara. He made it clear at mediation yesterday. He wants me to have zero contact. He made it clear when he filed his motions to stop my supervised visits. Even 2 hours, even 8 hours a month under supervision of a stranger. I don't know what their credentials are, but they're working through a licensed agency. Social workers, I guess they got I think she's got a degree in social work. So that's too much of me in my daughter's life as far as the father's concerned. He wants me zero in her life. And he wants her to forget about me. He doesn't want her to ever think about me. So that's probably why this letter is objectionable. He probably isn't giving her any mail. And he's not letting me have court order. He is under court order right now to schedule these supervised visits. And he's refusing to do it. And he's going to get away with it. I'll be very surprised if anybody... Well, the guardian ad litem, actually, the last hearing we had, July 27th, she got confirmation from the judge. People are still supposed to be following the court orders until we have the hearing to change them, and she said that's right. So, and the court orders that are in effect right now include supervised visits. So, so he's in contempt of court. And he's hoping that when he goes to court on the 17th of August, the judge will say, "Oh, you were right. Thank you for disobeying this order because your daughter would have been in such danger if you had not disobeyed my court order." I don't think she's going to say that because the guardian ad litem, I think the guardian ad litem's starting to come around and seeing that Delara is being negatively affected by all this interference in her life and her relationship with me and being cut off from other family members. But she's one of the ones that wanted supervised visits. She's one of the ones that asked for my parenting time to be severely restricted. She's the one that because I was complaining about how my daughter was being treated in court, she wanted me to be found in contempt. She wanted me to, I don't know if she wanted me to go to jail. I think she probably did. I've got to go back and watch the hearings. But she absolutely focused on me and what I was doing that she didn't like instead of focusing on how my daughter was reacting to her father's actions and the court, which the court said was okay. So we've had 4 years, over 4 years, of most of the things he's asked the judge for. She's signed off on them. There's a couple of things, but nothing, anything that ever went my way ended up not doing us any good anyway because he's got total control. And there's no consequences for him when he disobeys court orders. There never has been because he went 2 months last year without scheduling the supervised visits. That was never brought up by the judge. We brought it up in court over and over again because it's relevant, and it's one of the material changes of circumstances that would justify, when he's not adhering to the court order and the visitation schedule. That's several times that's been a reason to modify custody. It was a material change in circumstance. So she chose to ignore that. She chose to ignore that he disobeyed and interfered in my visitation and my daughter's contact with me. Judge Sheila Calloway, Davidson County. She's been, I think, the end of December 2014 is when she started hearing our cases. Before that, it was magistrates. But okay, here are my suggestions for having a great year at school. Number 1, keep a book handy in case you finish your work early and get bored. That is what Callie and I did. No one ever got bored. Be sure to read a balance of fiction and nonfiction. Read a biography at least once a week. Noah and I love Theodore Roosevelt. I challenge you to read a biography and list 10 of your favorite facts about him. Number 2, after school, be sure your homework is done, then challenge yourself. Work on a musical instrument every day. If you want a piano, you can get a Yamaha electric piano, stand and bench for less than $150. Craigslist may have something even cheaper. Listen to, sing, and play music of some kind every day. Can you do the cup song? She mentioned that one time that she liked the cup song. You do this percussion with this plastic cup. Practice your Turkish and your Spanish every day. Train your dog every day. Keep a little notebook and a pencil with you all the time to write down your good ideas. Thomas Jefferson had a very special pocket notebook made of ivory, and it had erasable pages. Get plenty of physical exercise. Try yoga. Callie says it helps her with her stress. Spend as much time outside as you can. Number 3, be obedient and respectful to your father and your teachers. Treat your classmates the way you would want to be treated. Always tell the truth. Number 4, go to bed at a good time. Have your teeth brushed, your hair brushed, have an evening ritual, and include your dad. When I was at home with my parents, every night we read the Bible and some other book together, like The Hobbit or Pilgrim's Progress, Chronicles of Narnia. Those are some of the ones I remember. The Hiding Place. You get your day off. Wait a minute. We read the Bible and some other book together, and we prayed together. You get your day off to a good start the night before. Have your clothes laid out. Have your backpack ready. Your teachers last year said you needed some work in the area of punctuality. Let's see how much better you do this year. Wait a minute. I wrote big and had big margins. So that wasn't as long as it seemed. 4th grade is awesome. Awesome. Twice. 2 exclamation points. Awesome, awesome. A lot of teachers think 4th grade is the best. I really liked 4th grade. I hope you will get to see Noah again before he goes back to Minnesota. Oh, by the way, do you know all your states and capitals? Callie and Noah learned them from the Rock and Learn tape we played in the car. Well, I guess I'll stop. I really do want to get some mail from you. Hurry. X's and O's. Love, Mom. I told her X's and O's means hugs and kisses. P.S. I hope the eggs were good. The chickens are great. Raven is the best. Were the big eggs double yolkers like I thought? Because I sent some... July 27th, I sent some eggs, including some giant double... I think they're double yolkers. All those giant... I thought they were duck eggs at first because they were so huge, but when I broke them open, they're double yolkers. And then we've had a bunch. We got like 5 in 1 week. So I got 3 chickens, and yeah, and I got one this week too, I think. So anyway, that's my letter. Was there anything in there that would be harmful? I tell you what I doubt that her dad gave her this. He doesn't want her to. And I'm surprised he took those eggs. I don't know what he did with them. I don't know if he gave them to her. I don't know if they ate them. But that's just... and I brought up this when she was seeing Dr. Berryman, the counselor she saw for like a year and a half. And I said, aren't you concerned, isn't this parental alienation? And she says, well, it's alienating when you don't have any contact with your child. But she wouldn't come to court and say, this is harmful to the child. What she did say was that Delara she would benefit from more time with me, a more balanced relationship. So, and the supervision is very intrusive, even when you've got very nice visitation supervisors, like we've had 4 very nice visitation supervisors. But mediation yesterday, it was, I was determined, okay, I'm not going to get in a mudslinging competition. And I'm not going to sit here and defend myself against his accusations. And he had, I don't know what it was, but he had some recording. He kept wanting, you want to hear? You want to hear? And I'm thinking, okay, that is so sick. He's said a lot of things I thought were not in Delara's best interest. In fact, I felt like they were harmful to Delara's state of mind and her development, her emotional development. When she says, I miss my mom, and he says, lots of kids don't have mothers, and they do fine, and you'll do fine too. That, to me, is disrespectful. It's sick. I mean, she's got these feelings. She's got these needs. There's nothing wrong with a child loving and needing their mother's care and nurture and support. And if you try to minimize those feelings for a child and say, "Oh, you don't need your mom," and that's what he said. That's what he said 3 years ago, when she was 6.5. She's 6.5. The child's changed. She doesn't need her mother like she used to need her. And it's not that I don't need her as much. She doesn't need me as much. She doesn't need me at all. He does not believe she needs me at all. And I think he really believes that. I think he really. And when I try to get him to articulate, well, what is it that you think is going to happen? It's like he won't answer me. He just tries to get other people. Well, this is what she did. This is what she says. Isn't that horrible? But he doesn't like something, but he can't tell me how my daughter is adversely affected by it. And then stuff he does, like refusing to let her see me or talk to me, or when she does talk to me on the phone, he's right there ready to jump in and direct the conversation. And the way he minimizes her feelings, it's almost like shaming her. You don't need your mom. Why do you think you need your mom? You're stupid. Why can't you be like these other children? And I'd like to know. You show me children who are deprived of a loving mother's care and nurture, and you show me how they're better off. You show me how well they're doing. Show me. Because typically research shows that that's a bad thing. Kids do not do well when they are cut off from. I mean, that's over and over again. I mean, it's common sense. Especially when you got a child for 3 years saying, I need my mom, I miss my mom, I want to see my mom, I want to be with my mom, I want to live with my mom. Over and over again. And why can't I see my mom? What do I have to do? What do I have to do to see my mom? Even when I'm good, I can't see my mom. Why can't I see my mom? And nobody can really give her a straight answer. I don't know what her father's telling her when she asks him that. But I know he gets upset. He gets upset because she's upset because she can't see me. So I don't think he's not letting me have phone calls. He's not letting me see her. I don't think he's letting me have. I don't think he's giving her the mail. Anyway, and I think that at mediation, he really. One huge problem I have with DCS is I do not believe they should be letting themselves, and this is what I told the very first time he called DCS on me. I said, he's using you, he's misusing your agency, and you should not. You should not let him do that. You should turn around and go, forget he called and made these lies about me. And I don't believe for a minute. I know they don't. They don't go out and check on every child they get any kind of report on. And they didn't come out. He complained about it. He had made many calls to DCS on me, complaining about me, wanting them to come and inspect my house and get in my business. And I don't think he had any luck until he told them that my house was infested with bed bugs and my daughter had bed bug bites all over her body, which he knew was not true. And then when DCS finds out it wasn't true, there's no negative repercussions for him for lying. And there should be, because I can't do anything about it. I guess unless I you know, I was told by the DA, the person the false reports are made to is the one who has to file the criminal complaint. So if I want to complain about it, I have to hire a lawyer and file a civil suit, like for defamation or whatever. And I really don't want to do that. I want people to follow the law and act in the child's best interest, and the government to stay out of our business. And my daughter is being harmed. She's being harmed by the courts. She's being harmed by DCS. And I don't see any end in sight. Let's see my notes I wrote about yesterday. Child is being harmed. Yeah, how is a child being harmed? He can't say how she's being harmed. He can't say what threat is it that I present to her. I'll tell you what I predict the way they're harming her. First of all, she's probably going to end up in alternative school or getting expelled. I mean, that's even what the school psychologist and the principal, assistant principal, they are all saying. She would have been expelled from any other school in Metro. They're just showing her extra measure of grace. So she's going to be in 5th grade, middle school next year. And that's when stuff's really going to start falling apart. Because she's going to lose all these relationships she's formed in the last 3 years. The support system. She's got a support system at school. She's going to lose that. She'll be put in a new school with new people she don't know her. They're not likely to be as accommodating. Well, we know they're not going to be as accommodating. And I weep for what they've done to my daughter and what I think the future holds for her. Because it'll take a lot of time to just reverse the damage they've done to her so far. But because I think it'll be years before I'm allowed to be in her life in the way she needs me to be. I think she's destined to be an underachiever at the very least. I think she's going to be a very troubled teenager, especially if I'm not in her life and she's with her dad. She might end up in juvenile detention. And that's where the guardian lied and said that when she was in 2nd grade. She said, this child, and I've got that on recording, she's going to end up in juvenile detention because her behavior was that bad. Her emotions were that bad. And or she could end up dead. You know, there's so many young children committing suicide. It's not really that unusual to hear of a 9 or 10-year-old committing suicide, and girls are more likely to commit suicide. She's been expressing suicidal ideation since she was 8.5, which I was shocked. I was extremely distressed when I found out about that, and even more distressed that nobody seemed concerned. It's like, oh well, she doesn't have a plan. It's just attention-getting behavior. It wasn't. It's an expression of severe emotional distress when she says, "I really miss my mom. There's no point in life without your family. I need my mom. I feel like I don't have a mother at all because I see so little of her." And that's just what little bit I've heard her say. I don't know what she's saying that I've never heard about. I don't know what she's saying to her father that he doesn't want to repeat. But she is more outspoken. And people have come to court and said she misses her mom. She really wants to see her mom. She doesn't understand why she can't see her mom. And witness after witness after witness has come in and spoken about how much Delara expresses her desire and her need to have her mother in her life in a meaningful way. And why can't she have that? I don't understand when nobody's ever shown, they've never ever shown any harm I've done to her. And then there's all this harm being done from having me cut off from her. And they don't want to acknowledge that. They don't want to acknowledge, but they do want to try to flip it around and put it on me, but they can't do it. That's what DCS is trying to do right now, but it's not going to hold up. Their petition is full of lies. It's full of lies. And people are not, the big problem here is instead of people getting their own information, they'll say something. And we're like, well, how do you know that? Well, that's what the father said. Over and over again. Where'd you get your information? Oh, that's what the father said. The father says she's doing fine without her mom. The father said she's doing great at school without her mom. The father said she had a perfect year in first grade when she had zero contact with her mom. That's what the father says. And his father is a liar. I know he's a liar. My daughter knows he's a liar. He knows he's a liar. And he doesn't care because he gets away with it. He gets rewarded for lying. And that's one thing I have said, and I do agree you should not make unwarranted derogatory remarks. But when my daughter wants to know what happened, I'm like, well, your daughter's been lying, or your dad's been lying. He's lying, and his lawyer's lying. And I think what they want my daughter to think is that there's something horribly wrong with me. I really am dangerous. Because if I wasn't, that's how that parental alienation goes, is they try to brainwash the kids into thinking the targeted parent is dangerous, scary, crazy, some kind of threat, and the pathological parent is the protective parent. It's really sick. It's so sick. But my daughter knows. She's smart. She knows her dad is a liar. He's lied to her over and over again. And he keeps doing it. And I it's like, on one of the phone calls that he's recording, she says, my dad's recording this phone call. Oh, he's not recording it. He said he's not. I'm like, how do you know he's not recording it? He just said he's not recording it. But he was recording it. Why? And why would you break trust with your child like that? If my parents had lied to me, I don't know. It bothered me bad enough that they withheld information from me. But if they outright lied to me, I would have felt so betrayed. I would have felt so mistreated. And I'd like to know how my daughter really feels towards her dad. I know she loves him. I know she needs him. I know he's the only parent she has, and really, because I'm not given the opportunity to be a parent to her. One thing that he did say, he said that they had a horrible summer. I think they probably had a horrible summer last year and the year before. Let's see, summer of 2016, I did see her. And I do know of some problems she had at some summer camps. Summer of 2017, I did not have any contact with her. But I imagine she had a pretty bad summer. And then this summer I've seen her a little bit. I think I saw her 4 hours in June and 4 hours in July. And she's been telling me for months about her dad's tantrums. She calls them tantrums. I would probably call them violent rages. and he's really scaring me. He really is. I am fearful for my daughter's safety with him, and I never used to be. I never really thought he was a violent person. I thought he was pretty non-confrontational, but I don't know if he's changing or if he's just losing. His facade is slipping, and his true nature is being exposed now. I don't know, but it scares me to death. And there was a 7-year-old child in the news here lately who had been in a custody fight between, I think the mother was remarried, but the father, I think the child had said she was afraid of her father. And the father killed her and himself. It was like this past week, a 7-year-old. And you hear those. I mean, that's always my worst fear, is having to bury a child. And most of these situations where children are killed by their parents, or when husbands kill their wives or whatever, it's shocking. And people, friends and family, they're like, oh, I can't believe he did that. I don't know what could have come over him. He seemed like such a nice guy. So you don't know. But I just don't think you should take chances. It's like when my child says she wishes people would kill her because she always feels sick. She's always in pain. She really misses. That's what she told me. Because one of these days she was asking somebody to kill her. I'm like, why? I just missed you so much. And that breaks my heart. And I don't understand how her dad can. And if she's doing that to other people, she's either done it at home or she did it at home until he retaliated too strongly that she won't bring it up with him. But it's really sad, and I hope someday she'll know that I tried to advocate for her. I have been complaining all along, and that's one thing. I was on the phone, and I'm like, well, I think I said I don't know what I was saying I was going to complain about. Like if I didn't get to see her more, I was going to complain. She's like, well, don't complain. And I'm like, well, why would she? I didn't ask her, but her dad seemed to think it was bad for me to want to do something when my daughter tells me not to. My question is, why would she tell me not to complain? Is she afraid I'll be retaliated against if I complain? What happens to her when she complains? I don't think it's good. I think I'm really concerned, and I'm concerned that even I have not taken her claims and her concerns she's raised. I have not taken them seriously till he had that fit in the car and broke his windshield, screaming while he was screaming at her. I didn't take it seriously. I thought she was exaggerating. Oh, and I kind of blamed her, which hurt her feelings, and I had to apologize. But it's really bad. And I don't know what to do differently than what I've done. I mean, I've complained. I've made reports to DCS. I've shared evidence with DCS. I've refuted the lies. Raised my concerns, and I don't understand. I don't understand how you've got a child who is at risk of, I mean, she's already emotionally disturbed. I mean, I acknowledge, yes, she has suffered psychological harm, but it's not my doing. It's not my actions. It's my absence. That's what's come out of her mouth. Why was I so upset at school? Why was I in the bathroom screaming, asking somebody to kill me? Because she missed her mom. And that's always, people say, well, we don't know what sets her off. I mean, we don't know what triggers her. She's fine, and then she just flies off the handle. She's always got that need for her mother. She lives with that loss, that grief, every single day, just like I do. And sometimes I don't know what's going to set me off, what's going to make me cry, what's going to make me hurt especially bad. But I always hurt. I always hurt. I'm always sad. Part of me is always sad and always worried and always angry and frustrated. And it's the same way for my daughter. And how do I know that? Because she said so. She has said so to other people. I'm not leading her into saying that. She's saying it to other people. And then I have given her the opportunity to say it to me. So I can respond to her. And not shame her for having those feelings. Because she's right. She should have her mom in her life. And I'm not going to minimize it. Well, and I have actually. That's on that phone call that they're saying I was asking her leading questions. I was actually trying to say, there is, even if you don't have family, there's still reason for life. Now they leave off that part where, and then she argues with me. She's like, well, adults might be okay without family, but kids really need their parents. They really need their family. They really need, I'm a kid, I really need my mom. And I don't, and I as a mother, I should not be minimizing those feelings. I shouldn't be saying, like her dad's doing, I shouldn't be saying, oh, lots of kids don't have mothers, and they do fine, and you'll be fine too. You don't need me. How could I say that to her when she knows I would be lying to her, and she gets enough lies from her father, and that is not an unwarranted derogatory remark. That's the truth, and it's the sad truth. One of the things he said at mediation yesterday was the agency took the visitation supervisor off our case. He didn't say that he called the agency and said, I'm not going to let my daughter have any supervised visits unless you get us a different visitation supervisor. He's the one who did that. So the visitation supervisor's like, well, if he doesn't want me to do the visits, I don't want to do them. We'll have to find somebody else. But the agency did not take the visitation supervisor. She's a very good visitation supervisor. And Delara was just starting to really bond with her. Instead of being annoyed, there's yet another stranger. We've had 7 visitation supervisors in 37 months, but we've only had visits in 14 of those months. So we've had 7. She didn't like it. That's court. That is the worst part of court to her. Is strangers coming in, getting between her and her mom. So now her dad, okay, just when my daughter gets comfortable and is, with Angela, and Angela isn't complaining about me. Angela is saying, I've got good parenting skills, I'm appropriate. The visits are going well. I'm saying the visits are going well. Angela's saying the visits are going well. Delara's saying the visits are going well. But her father is saying, you're not protecting my daughter from her mother, so I want to pick out the visitation supervisor. I want to interview them. I want to train them. I want to supervise the supervisors. I want to be the boss of the visitation supervisors. I want to make sure they do the visits the way I want them done. And he wants people to find things to complain about me for. just sick. It's so sick. And I don't understand why it's taken this long for people to say, this is really not a good situation. And the only way to fix it, I think the only way to fix it, since he wants me to have zero contact with my daughter, and I told the judge this 3 years ago. I said the only way, and this is on recording, the only way my daughter will have two parents in her life is if I'm the one in control. Because if you give primary custody to him, decision-making, primary control to him, he will cut me out of her life. That is exactly what he's done. So, and I, you know, people need to start listening to me. I warned them, Delara's going to have problems if you make her go to public kindergarten. She's going to have problems, and these are the problems she's going to have. She's going to get bored. She's going to do this attention-getting behavior stuff to stimulate herself. Oh, I'm bored. Let's do something, you know, stir up some excitement. The work is not engaging to her. And her activity. I mean, she's such a high energy